Hello everyone, it's James again. And in today's video I want to talk about a very important subject. It's about the increasing numbers of mothers that aren't showing maternal instincts, and what that means for children being brought up in such a home. This is something I have thought about for a long time. With the increase of women seeking divorces faster than they got married, and young mothers talking about how they were so drunk they could barely stand up the Friday before last, and how they totally hooked up with some random guy. And this list goes on and on. How nearly every time I make a trip to the grocery store or shopping mall, I see men pushing strollers and women ordering demands at them, or the man has a baby strapped to his chest with one of those baby straps, as he bounces the baby and feeds it a bottle, as the mother is barking more orders and tells the man he's walking too slow, and then some other lady walks by and comments about this awkward situation by saying, "Isn't that so sweet?" And I'm just shaking my head, thinking to myself, no. That isn't sweet at all, lady. This child is being raised in for one a stressful environment where they are witnessing day in and day out fussing and arguing. And then they get to see their dad not acting like a dad. And they are then confused when they are a boy what it is to be a male, and this confusion is something feminists celebrate and make it taboo to talk against. This is where you hear that old saying for men, he's in touch with his feminine side. Well, I have news for you. There is nothing feminine about masculinity and nothing masculine about femininity, and furthermore, women or the feminine don't have a monopoly on human emotions. Men can feel sad without being in so-called in touch with some sort of feminine side. Women don't have a monopoly on loving and caring for their children. And loving and caring for one's children is not a feminine emotion. It's a human emotion. But the trick feminist in our society plays on you and everyone around you is to make you think and believe that being a male is everything dirty and wrong, and being a woman is everything clean and right. Then they hit you with a series of double standards. And no one will question what, how, or why about these double standards. Like for instance, if someone said, though caring for a child is a human thing, not a gender thing. However, throughout the beginning of time, there were certain roles during this caring and raising process that were more fit for women, and some that were more fit for men. Such as having a baby attached to one's chest during feeding time is more of a woman's role, and teaching a child how to throw a ball is more of a man's role, and both are equal and loving, and are drawing great bonds between you and your child. But those conditioned by feminists would say, how dare you call feeding a baby a woman's job? Why can't a man get his hands dirty and do it? But these are the same conditioned women that will have you go to her car and get the case of soda for the work potluck or party because she says it's a man's job to do the heavy lifting. Now I say these things not to complain, but I say these things to be true and honest, and in hopes to get people to see the lies and conditioning that has been going on with you and how you were told to have relationships. Relationships that now have a better chance at failing than succeeding. Think about something for a minute. What generally happens when a woman at work is overheard from her peers talking about loving to cook dinner for her husband and children, and doing old-fashioned kinds of things? Her work peers swoop right in and badger the hell out of her, trying to convince her she needs to make her husband cook dinner and burp the baby. And no matter if she says she enjoys doing such things, these other women won't let up until they make her feel like a complete failure as not just a woman but a human being, until she goes home with some new rules for the house. Then before you know it, this woman, if she lets it happen, goes back into her house and is fighting with her husband, not because there is something wrong, but because her friends made her feel like a complete failure. And the main person in the equation that suffers is, you guessed it, the child. The child that now won't stand a chance and will constantly be pushed around in a mishmash of confusion and fighting. And these ladies that beat this poor woman down crack their knuckles and smile as if to say job well done, because this is the goal of the feminist movement. And that is to confuse the roles in your home so your home structure will fail, and the children will be raised in the way they want them to be raised. Don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong with a man feeding his kid, and there's nothing that takes away from him being a man by doing so. But feminists have it set up to take this role that was primarily for women and hand it off to the men and demonize anyone that dare say, wait a minute, What's going on here? And in addition to that, the man still has to do the heavy lifting and manual labor tasks, and then he is basically told her money is her money and his money is her money, and these are the relationships that end in divorce. And this is the reason why I believe most of the divorces are happening to this day. I mean, think about how much a wife that is doing this to her husband and child really respects her husband and child, and it basically turns into a me type situation, where she convinces herself everyone around her isn't making her happy, so she is entitled to go and meet another man to fulfill her happiness. And to heck with her husband because hey, he's just not cutting it. Although he's running around like Mr. Mom. And the child, well, the courts will give her custody, and if she makes up stories painting the husband to being a bad man, she'll get more money for support. So much for being maternal and caring about the needs of the child. Because in today's world, women are taught to see children as accessories, not as living and breathing human beings that need love from both sides. And with all of this, no one is asking what, how, who, and why. Now, I'm not saying that the world was perfect before feminism. But I can say this. Before the rise of feminism, the rate of illegitimacy was so low it barely existed. But nowadays, or specifically, after the rise of feminism, illegitimacy of children born is normal and even seen as something women are patted on the back for. Because that illegitimacy isn't about the child but about the me thinking that has been taught to this woman from day one. Which leads to a bunch of children that are confused, broken and damaged. We are truly living in a world where good is seen as bad, and bad is seen as good. And anyone that is trying to have a good life and just trying to be left alone is attacked until they give up their maternal instincts and allow the sabotage of their family unit to happen. The reality is people are getting divorced nowadays because it's easy to do and it seems like a rite of passage. And sadly 70% of divorces are brought by women. And this isn't to say some of these women aren't married to bad guys just like some men are married to bad women. But the reality is divorce and the lack of being maternal amongst many women is about this me taught and learned behavior that has been shoved in your faces since you were children. And is only to do one thing. That is to destroy your family unit. I will say it again. It's designed to destroy your family unit. So what's the solution? Well, for the men, the minute you see toxic behavior in a woman, run. Do not let things progress to the point of marriage and children with such a person. It will only get worse. And leaving as fast as you can will keep you free to be able to meet a woman that is decent, kind, loving, and maternal. Men, you have to start holding women accountable for their actions and calling out these double standards and stop going along with them. This will force some of these women to look at their behavior and drop the bullying act that is done to many men in so many relationships. And the next thing is women that love their children and love their manly masculine husbands. Keep the Nancy know-it-alls at arm's length. Don't fall for the peer pressure. Educate yourself regarding the destruction of the family unit and stay as far clear from these people as you can. Don't provide your personal information about your family to such people because it will be used and twisted to try to throw you and your relationship off balance. And this can be easier to fall for than you think. You must know and realize any of us can fall for this stuff. And peer pressure is a very powerful tool and is used over and over again to get people to comply with the most ridiculous things imaginable. Think about the group of friends jumping off of a big rock into a shallow stream of water. And how is this accomplished that most of the people, if not all in the group, will jump? It's called peer pressure. If though the threat of being paralyzed or killed is very real, the peer pressure is so strong that people will jump anyway. Well, I have news for you. Women every day are giving up their maternal instincts and their families at the hands of peer pressure. And the main people that are the losers are the children that grow up in such a mess. And the truth is only you, and you can stop it. Like I always say, knowledge is power. The more we know, the more we can take our families back. And the more our children stand a chance at a better future in life. Until next time. Bye for now. And be good to yourself.